Welcome back to another episode of the Game Language Podcast, where we deduce, dissect, and discuss video games and whether or not they speak our language. I'm Troy, and with me always is
Jason.
How we doing, man?
I'm doing good, surprisingly, for someone who's running on so little sleep.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that and then come in and record.
Neither do I. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I got my sleep. I got my good six hours or so, like a good growing boy.
6 hours is really helping.
Yeah. What you been playing lately?
Oh, man, what have I not been playing?
That is true. You've been playing a lot.
Yeah. I've been playing Liza P.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade, PC version. Elden Ring Night Rain, although I won't be playing that in the future. Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers. Oh, and River City Girls 2.
Yes.
And Monster Hunter Wilds.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of it.
Yeah, like all you need is a sports game. You've been playing Rematch too.
Oh yeah, I've been playing Rematch.
Yeah, so you've been playing it all.
You play it more.
So how is Liza P been for you?
So it's been better than before. I am famously on record as hating that game.
Yeah.
No, well, I wouldn't say hate. It just didn't gel with me when I played the demo.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the feel of the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I do like it a bit better. I still have some issues. I really don't like I don't necessarily love the flow of combat in the game. I think it feels good to like attack and dodge. Well, not dodge, but parry. But I really don't care for like the stagger system and how breaking that down. I still haven't taken your advice yet because I haven't played it since then. But I am going to try and make a faster weapon because right now I'm using a spear.
Yeah.
And that spear just like, I do all my work of parrying to where the stun bar comes up, the white around the health bar. And I'm like, okay, well, I should be able to hold R2 immediately after getting that perfect parry and be able to hit him and then get the stun and do that. But it doesn't work that way. They just crush me every time when I'm literally in the middle of the air doing the flip. They just...
They just
swap me like a fly. And so I'm sitting there just like, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That sucks. So like, what am I supposed to do? And like, if the game is trying to tell me that like, get that white bar and then just kind of play cat and mouse until you can find a time to do the strong attack, that doesn't gel with me. I don't like that flow personally. But I do think the game's good. Great even. But that, some of the combat and like traversal has been a little rough for me.
Yeah. The traversal has been getting me. I've been playing that too, and I've been liking the combat myself. But I have been running into like your standard like Souls-like isms, where it's just like, hey, you walk into a room, a dude with a really oppressive attack string is attacking you, while also there's a guy standing on a cliff throwing bombs at you.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, I hate this.
Yeah, I was gonna say every single Souls like does that because Dark Souls does it, Neo does it, and Liza P did not break the chains of tradition.
No, they just put more chains on.
But any other games been sticking out for you that you've been playing lately?
Yeah. So I've also been playing Stellar Blade on PC. Been playing Rematch a lot. Love that game. So much fun. Started playing River City Girls on the Switch too. I'm pretty much looking through all of the catalog of games that got a pseudo update from the Switch 2, so they maybe had an uncapped frame rate and now they're running at 60 FPS. River City Girls has been running a lot better on Switch 2. I also tried out the demo for Wonderful 101 because I'm probably going to buy that on Switch too.
Is it running really good?
It runs real good. And it's a sick ass game. But yeah, that's about it. Just try my best to chip away at Stellar Blade and Liza P. I'll turn one on, play it for half an hour, turn it off, turn the other one on, play it for half an hour.
You want to know what's funny is like I turn Liza P on.
Yeah.
I play it for half an hour. And then I go and play Stellar Blade for 2.
Yeah.
That game's been, even though I've already beaten it, I don't know why it's got its hooks back in me on PC. There's it looks way better. But I think I just really like their combat.
Yeah, no, their combat. I actually did not like Stellar Blade's combat when I started it. It's not until I get the double jump and some of the other actions that I'm like, okay, this is starting to gel with me because Eve was feeling too stiff.
Yeah, I think it helps that I've beaten it and gotten more of her moves and know the
Yeah.
potential of it. Because she is very stiff until you're about past the wasteland. It doesn't really like open up as much.
But still fun.
Still fun though. But yeah, well, with our what you plans out of the way, let's find out what's going on in the world of gaming with our 3 bites of news stories. First news story this week: Steam is being integrated into the Xbox app. So with the new Xbox ROG Ally like handheld that they're planning on releasing, they have shown that they are going to have Steam on there. Like your Steam game library will fuse with the Xbox app, so you can actually like see your games. And it's just been really funny seeing the screenshots of people having like God of War and Spider-Man, the PlayStation exclusives, right next to their Xbox games. And but I do find it funny just because like PlayStation's been doing that lately because Microsoft's been releasing all their games on it. And I'm like, Xbox, clap back. They did it in a sneaky way because I know Sony is not happy about that. Because that they want Microsoft to be in the dirt for some reason. Yeah. Anytime I've read like their courtroom like documents and stuff, like when they had that FTC case, I'm just like, Sony fucking hates Microsoft. Like, they hate them. Like Microsoft's just like, we're just some guys. We're just trying to get a little bit of the piece of the pie because we've been losing all the time. And Sony's just like, you will not topple my dynasty. And it's so funny to me. So seeing all these like this news story and seeing the little clips from everybody, I've been laughing my ass off at it. I'm just like, I just know Herman Holst is in a meeting right now just being like, if they put Horizon on there, I will march into the Redmond office.
That's looking funny.
But yeah, so I thought that one was pretty funny. Next bite of news story. This one's review focused. So there's 2 of these. I want to talk about the high of reviews and the low of reviews. Death Stranding 2, Hideo Kojima's newest game, has released this week. And it's done it to a very good critical reception. It's sitting at a 90 on Metacritic, which is much higher than the 81 that the first one had. And just from the review roundups of Death Stranding 2, sounds incredible. I'm going to wait until I come back from Washington, my vacation. But if that PC port doesn't have a date, like within 6 months, I'm going to pick that game up on PlayStation and play it because it looks too fun. It seems to have like the goofiness of Metal Gear 5 that I loved. And like I saw a clip of like Sam full sprinting into a military base and then just drop kicking.
Yeah.
And then proceeding to like grab the enemy's like spear, their staff, and then just chuck it at the other guy. And I was just like, I have to play this.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's if I don't see a PC port announced within the next 6 months, I'm gonna just have to pick it up on PS5 because I'm hearing that it plays really well. So I think it could be a game that me and Alex really like. So it's really hard to not buy it right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched the Digital Foundry review. The game runs incredible on PS5. I think it's only 1080p on the performance mode, but it's a solid 60. And because of how good the image quality is and the graphics, it doesn't feel like 1080p according to them. I haven't seen it myself, but I can believe him because Kojima, he does a really good job with optimization.
Yeah.
But that was on the high side. On the low side of reviews, Monster Hunter Wilds hit an all-time low. And what's crazy is I wrote this story, yesterday. The all-time low was 14%, mostly negative. I played it this morning and rechecked in, did some, first-hand journalism, and saw that it's at 13%.
Jeez.
So I was already shocked by the very low number of 14%. What I'm more shocked at is that we just got an announcement with Title Update 2, and I thought that the hype and excitement around Monster Hunter Wilds reveal would maybe halt the downward trend.
Yeah.
But it hasn't. It continues to go ever downwards. And the answer seems to just be purely performance, which is a little shocking to me that that's the biggest issue, because I know the game has performance issues, but I'm going to be real with you. I don't think they're anywhere close to FromSoft's technical performance issues or a lot of other games that I've run into. It's not the worst running game on my PC.
Right.
That So it just really surprises me that everyone is having such a bad time. Because, like, I'd understand it having in the 40 to 60% range. That would make more sense to me. But to see it so low just seems so odd, at least for me, as someone who really enjoys the game and thinks it's a good playing game. I have criticisms of it, but not enough to where I would rate it a 1.3 out of 10.
No, there's nothing about that game that deserves that rating.
Yeah. So I just feel bad for Capcom because it feels like they are really trying. And we'll get more into it because we'll be going over the Capcom showcase that they did this week. But like when you read the director letters and like how much they've actually like interacted with the community, it just seems really, it just feels wrong how bad people are negatively reacting to all this stuff to me when they're doing so much. And I don't feel like it's worthy of that hate. Because like at this level, it's hate. I would say it's just mild frustrations if it was in the 40 to 60, but people just fucking hate this game right now, and I don't get it. So a little sad about that. Sorry to dour the mood after the Death Stranding hype, but yeah, I really thought that was crazy. But on to our last bit of news. This one, you know, just a reaffirmation from Sony. PlayStation reiterates it will not launch first-party games and their first-party studio games day and date with their highest tier PS Plus. So unlike Game Pass, they are still saying, "Fuck you, we'll never do the Game Pass model." And they also have been reiterating that, like, yes, when we do put our games on the catalog, we will take them away because we want them to have value. And I was like, is this a Nintendo shareholder meeting? Like, because I was shocked to hear Sony be like, yeah, we want the value of RP to be valued highly. So we're only going to give you tastes at times. And I was just like, this just sounds, I feel like I'm hearing Nintendo right here being, you know, when they're talking about never giving sales on their games, which not a news story, but pretty funny. Nintendo did a summer sale and they have a ton of their games on sale right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like the whole Xenoblade series is all 30% off.
Oh,
so yeah, I wish I wasn't poor right now. I was going to pick up like 2 of them.
It would be recommended.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to do it for the news story. Bit of a week.
Yeah. It's again, I'm really hating to see how much hate Monster Hunter is getting. I feel like this is just one of those situations where people are review bombing something off of their personal opinion, which isn't really a reflection on the game's quality. And it's just, I don't know what they're gonna have to do to get that back up and get back in everybody's good graces, because they could fix the game, but I don't know if that's gonna be enough.
I don't think so. Not unless cardboard potato connected to a monitor can run 240 FPS at 4K for these people. Because like when I read like some of the things, they're just like, I'm on medium and 1440 and it's not even hitting 60. I'm like, well, what's your rig? 2070? Well, gee, I wonder why.
All right, and with that, we'll move into our game. It is the game that I'm still looking for a name. Currently, it is Judged by its cover, a game where my wife looks at video game covers and gives me a description of them without knowing the title. Working title.
As seen by my wife.
As seen by my wife. So we'll see if you can actually figure out what is the through line for these games. I'm trying to create this thing where every single time we do this, I create a similar through line that hopefully is the big hint that gets you to sort of guess the more obscure titles. Because there's some pretty obscure ones in this. So be prepared.
I was to say, I feel like I've already tapped out like my 9 titles that I know.
I don't think there are any repeats, but as this game continues to grow, I'm just going to have to create a whole folder of all the images I've used to be very careful. But let's start with the first one, all right? These guys look like they just left a Halloween party and the planet to cheer on the one blonde man in a red pirate outfit who is reaching towards the shiny object in the sky. At least they have a red jet plane that they can take back to Earth. Want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was.
Once again, these guys look like they just left a Halloween party and the planet to cheer on this one blonde man in a red pirate outfit who is reaching towards a shiny object in the sky. At least they have a red jet plane to take them back to Earth.
Is that Power Stone 2?
It's Power Stone 1.
Power Stone 1. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, because I've been playing the Capcom Fighting Collection too, and
Yeah.
Falcon. The art for Power Stone 2 is like all the characters reaching for a gem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's probably pretty similar to the first one. Okay, well, Power Stone.
Okay.
Right.
Ooh. Are these guys lovers or siblings? Either way, I would not want to be in their position. The man is in the RPD uniform, and the girl is wearing the most fashion red leather jacket ever. This appears to be sickies circling them.
Resident Evil Remake 2?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, no, as soon as you said RPD, I was like...
Yeah, as soon as
Leon!
when I went to say it, I was like, I should have left that part out. All right. This one is going to be tough. The classic diamond setup. Ignore what I said earlier. This one is definitely Halloween coded. There's a purple witch with a full moon behind her, chibi figures, and freaking bats.
Bayonetta?
Think about the similarity in the last couple that you guessed. Okay.
Darkstalkers?
Close.
Rival School?
No, this is a game that I've talked about before. You've never played it, but I've talked
never
about
played
it.
Okay.
All right, one more time. The classic diamond setup. Ignore what I said earlier. This one is definitely Halloween coded. There's a purple witch with a full moon behind her, chibi figures, chibi fighters, chibi fighters,
yeah.
and freaking bats. Chibi fighters.
Dang it. Is it BlazBlue?
No, it's Pocket Fighters.
Pocket Fighters?
Yeah, Pocket Fighters. They're like chibi Capcom fighting game.
Yeah, I was going to say, the third line I've been noticing is that this is Capcom.
Yeah, it's very Capcom coded. All right. This cover art is so cute. The people and animals are all in that classic diamond setup again. Chef's kiss at the front. There's a white wolf with a red swirling symbol on his fur and lots of characters behind him. Mainly bad bitches depicting what I'm assuming are traditional Japanese outfits and items.
Okami?
Yes. All right, and last but not least. You know these guys can't pass up a hot topic. One in a red leather coat. The one in the middle has a blue leather coat, and the guy on the right has a sleeveless leather coat. They're walking towards some vines in the sky, and a massive mosquito is closing in on them. And Devil May Cry 5 is correct.
Love that.
Yes, so you only missed one, which is Pocket Fighters. That was the tricky one I put in there. But I hope that the whole Capcom through line would help give you a hint.
As soon as you gave me the RPD, I was like, "This is Capcom, baby." I appreciate that. That's why I was so thrown off. I was like, "That sounds like Bayonetta." Did I miss? Is this action games?
Yeah, it doesn't help that I couldn't say chibi. I was like chibi.
But I knew what you meant. I was gonna say Puzzle Fighter, but the witch thing was throwing me off.
Yeah, Puzzle Fighter would have been also a good guess. I think I would have given it to you if you said Puzzle Fighter, just because I think they use the exact same. They use the same chibi characters for Puzzle Fighter and Pocket Fighter, so I'd have to give it to you.
Well, either way.
Yeah, but
those
either
were
way,
great descriptions. The diamond format yet again.
Yes, yeah, she loves the diamond formation.
Well, I mean, obviously Capcom does too.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, with that, we're going to move into our impressions. We're going to be talking about a couple of showcases this time. We've got the Capcom showcase and the ArcSys showcase. One of those was way better than the other.
We'll let you guess which.
But I'll let you start off with the Capcom showcase. Did you watch the ArcSys showcase?
I didn't watch it live.
Yeah.
I watched it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was.
I'll jump on that grenade. You can talk about the Capcom. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Capcom showcase I did watch live.
Yeah. Same.
Which
we both watched it live in separate rooms.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because halfway through it I was screaming, and then I hear you in the other room, and I was like, "He's home? What?" But I was so into my bed, I had my iPad just like right up to my face, and I was like, "Yes," because I, as you've probably realized if you've listened to this podcast, I am a Capcom glazer. they're probably my favorite company. If I'm being real honest, they have passed up FromSoft for me, but I don't know if they passed Nintendo. But they, I think they actually did a pretty good showcase this year. So normally, I will say they've had the worst showcase of every year. Easily, it's just like a retread of the trailers that they just showed at Summer Games Fest. And there's a bit of that here because the show opened up with Pragmata, although they say it Pragmata.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm going to keep calling it Pragmata. Eat it. But they just showed the same trailer. There wasn't really anything new other than getting a little bit deeper dive on the combat, just knowing that it's going to be hacking while you're doing it, which sounds really interesting to me. This game seems like almost like a spiritual successor to Mega Man. So I've been really excited about Pragmata ever since they announced it. Cause I always, if Capcom says they're making a new action game, I'll at least be there for the first one. And if it sucks, I won't be there again, but I'll always show up for them, just to try it out, just to see what their new twist is. And I'm actually pretty excited about that. Like hacking and then like shooting body parts. It's almost like a mix of Resident Evil 4, but with like hacking mini games on top of that combat model. So should be good. What did you think of Pragmata?
So I feel like at first I wasn't too excited about it, but I've heard from a few different people like streamers and content creators who've gotten to play the game that they also at first weren't convinced, but after getting hands-on really started to like it. So I'm still in that position where it looks okay, but I think it'll really click when I get my hands on it. Kind of like that Platinum game Vanquish. Did you ever play Vanquish? Yeah, Vanquish was a game that kind of looked goofy at first, but once I actually played it, I was like, "Oh, this is."
Then you start sliding.
It all made sense. So that's kind of where I am on that one.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I'm really hoping we get it sooner rather than later. But it is set for 2026 with no set release date, just a year. But moving on from that, the next thing they showed was Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess for Switch 2, which it's getting a new roguelike mode, which will be on the other platforms as well, but it's getting launched with the Switch 2 version. Pretty cool that it's one of the first Switch 2 games that actually uses mouse controls, so that's pretty tight. It also seems like the perfect game to play on a Switch 2.
Yeah, I played it, so when it was on Game Pass, I played it for a little while, and I really liked it, but I kept thinking the whole time, I'm like, this would be a great mobile game. It's on the Switch too. I'm definitely going to be picking this up soon.
Hell yeah. I was going to say, I haven't played it, so I actually might pick it up when it comes on to Switch 2. Because, I was too busy when it came out on PC.
You should check to see if there's a demo.
Oh, yeah, there probably is. Capcom's usually really good about that.
Yeah, I would check to see if there is one because at first the game doesn't look that enticing, but once you actually get hands-on and play through a couple levels, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like action and RTS having like a baby. And I'm like, I love action. I don't really like RTS. But if you can fuse that together, I can probably learn to love it. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. After that, they did a bunch of sales information because a lot of game franchises from Capcom are on sale right now. So if you were waiting for a sale, check out your local whatever console, PC, or whatever you're on, the storefront, because they're probably deep discounted. You can get like all the Resident Evils for like $5 on Steam right now. It's so cheap.
I saw.
Fortunately, I already have all those, so nothing left for me to buy. But moving on from that, the Street Fighter 6 was the next thing they showed. And they opened it up with Sagat's World Tour trailer with John World Tour, or James Streets, as people have named the World Tour default character.
Yeah, I like James Streets.
James Streets. I also love that. I saw that one this morning.
Yeah.
When I watched Max react, he always calls him John World Tour. And I'm like, that's great. They're both funny to me. What did you think of Sagat and his reveal?
So he looks interesting. I can't say that I like this design better than his Street Fighter V design. I think that's like the pinnacle of Sagat, but you can't really give that to him because that look has kind of been passed on to Ryu with the shawl over them type of look. Sagat has always been such an interesting character in Street Fighter, from being like the definitive bad guy to being sort of like the isolated monk, almost like a Ryu-like character now. And yeah, he
It reminds me of Akuma. Like once they get defeated, you always just check in on them, and they're always on some journey of self-discovery.
That is true. Seeing Akuma on a journey of self-discovery is so weird because he's supposed to be an embodiment of like violence and evil. He's Gouki, you know. So,
yeah, but then he got beat by Ryu, and all of a sudden he sees the light. Dude, he's got therapy hands.
Yeah, Ryu does have therapy hands, bro.
Yeah, I think Sagat looks cool,
Yeah.
but I also agree with you. I think his Street Fighter V design was better, but I also agree too that it would be too similar to Ryu's current SF6 design, and it works for Sagat. I don't think it's bad at all. I like it, but it's not my favorite one of his. Definitely, we'll just look forward to costume 2, 3, and 4 from him. But the other thing they showed, speaking of outfits, they showed us costume 4 for 7 of the characters, because that's how they'll be releasing them now. They're going to stagger the release. Mm-hmm. And when I saw these, all I could think of, that prize pool got funded immediately when those launch. If you didn't see it, they're all bathing suits.
Yeah, it's the bathing suit edition. So
It's
pretty much every character is going to get bathing suits for these outfits, right?
Street Gooner 6 is coming.
Yeah, here it comes. I can't wait till they put Blanca in a speed. Just kidding.
See, I want Blanca to have like a floaty, like an
Oh,
inflatable.
yeah, that'll be fun.
Because he's always going to be the comic one.
Mm-hmm.
Zangief will probably have the onesie with the red and white stripes.
Yep.
Because both Cammy and Chun-Li's outfit was from the Street Fighter 2 artwork, and he's in that with that outfit. And I was like, we're going to get that. Zangief's coming in with that. Which I find funny that the man with like pretty much just wearing underwear will have the most modest swimwear.
Yeah.
I love that dichotomy, so it's funny. But they also showed, so the 7 characters were Cammy, Chun-Li, Manon, Luke, Jamie, Kimberly, and Aki.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be real, I love all the outfits.
Yeah, they all look really good.
I think if I went for, I'll ask you this: who is your favorite girl character outfit, and which of the dudes did you like?
Favorite girl character outfit is definitely Kimberly, because Kimberly has the crop top jacket, and it's blue and yellow and white. Those are all some of my favorite colors. And then Jamie's outfit is clean. If I like playing Jamie, I'd be wearing that outfit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a Luke main, but I think Jamie's outfit is way cooler.
Yeah,
I actually
outfit is
want
fire.
those trunks for myself.
Yeah,
they look so cool.
They look really cool. So yeah, definitely Kimberly and Jamie were my 2 favorite.
Yeah, I'd say it was Jamie, but Chun-Li for me. I think her outfit just looks crazy cool.
Hers is sick.
Yeah, but I will say Kimberly was a close second. I was really happy about Kimberly getting one, because I feel like she hasn't gotten enough love.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then other things, they're going to continue to keep adding music to the game to give it more selection for you to battle to, which is good, because a lot of people hate Street Fighter 6's music. So they keep adding 4, 5, and all the old ones. And I'm like, good, just let us use it.
Yeah, just let us do that until you figure something out with the music for 6, because it's crazy how they got the vibe right, but none of the music right.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I actually think that the theme song of 6 is incredible, not on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And a lot of people liked it. That one wasn't, even though I have pretty trash taste in music, everyone on the internet was pretty in agreement that was a good one.
Yeah.
Because that's how it was revealed, was that song. Mm-hmm. And then everybody was like, oh man, this music's going to hit. And then they released all the tracks, and it's like, okay, there's only one good song in this freaking game. Like,
it is dog water.
Yeah, no, there's literally only a handful of tracks that stick out to me. Mm-hmm. Like Jamie's theme is really good.
Yeah.
And it's like having those top tier ones, but then having 20 other ones that are just absolute dog shit is.
I don't know what they were thinking, man.
But so I thought that was cool. I think the coolest thing that I saw from the roadmap, other than the costumes and Sagat, was that they're finally adding fighting ground items in the battle pass. I've never used the battle pass in Street Fighter 6 because it's avatar outfits. I don't give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think being able to change your character illustration and your colors, because in this next battle pass, Ryu and Ken are both getting colors.
Yep.
I think that's really cool. And if I played either one of those characters, I would actually grind the pass. So as soon as they add a my color or a Luke color, I'll grind that. And I'm like, thank you. That's all I need to do a battle pass is give me something that I would actually want to play instead of John World Tour's Next Glove.
No, there's plenty of ways out there to get the characters to have unique colors in their attacks and things like that. I don't know why colors of the characters' outfits and colors of their effects and stuff aren't in the battle pass. Right. I feel like that would be a great thing to grind so that you can customize your character to look and feel how you want. Without changing too much of what's going on in the game. And your enemy will never see it because, well, I guess they would see it if they had that unlocked. But, I mean, they can do so much with it with, how everybody has their own stage when they're playing. There's so much that they're able to do on the client side. Why not allow us to get those colors? That's
what's so cool about the game is that you can already do that. Not the effects part because the effects aren't customizable yet, but costumes. Mm-hmm. You can set it to where you don't see what the other person uses. Yeah. You can always set it to always be the one that you want it to be. But when you go into your replay, it'll show their true one. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing, you don't have to deal with it. And I think that's really cool. And so I actually think your idea is perfect. They should just add like an effects.
Yeah, effects and then outfit colors should all be in a battle pass that you can grind. I feel like people would buy the battle pass more often and grind it, a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was all they showed for Street Fighter 6. I will say Sagat is coming August 5th. They did announce his date. Do you think that's a little bit later? I'm surprised they're doing it after EVO when the last two EVOs, they've done it 2 weeks prior. So maybe it's a response to feedback, but I don't know about that. It feels like more they're just behind schedule because this new season started later than the last one too. But the next game that they showed was Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I'll be real, they didn't really show too much new. It kind of looked like the Summer Games Fest, like snippets of gameplay that they showed. So nothing really new other than the interviews. They talked about that this game's going to focus way more on horror, which they do this with every Resident Evil. They're like, we're going back to our roots. Yeah, I hear that and I'm just like, okay. It's just like one of the most eye-rolling like statements whenever I hear a game company say that. We're going back to our roots. We get it. Yep. You're at RPD. But they said that the reason Grace is going to be the protagonist of this game is that she's introverted and scared easily. And they're like, we were going to pick Leon, but we chose not to because it wouldn't make sense for Leon to get scared at every little thing with what he's been through. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, like, I'd still want to play Leon. I want a roundhouse kick some zombies.
Wasn't the assumption that we might be, well, when people first saw the trailer, they thought that we might be playing her and Leon. This more horror situations would be her, and then the action situations would be Leon, which I think would have been a great mix.
Yeah, and that still could be the case. They might just be misdirecting us. Yeah, which I've been seeing posts about that, and I'm like, probably, because they don't want, kind of like not to spoil Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8. Spoilers here, so fast forward 10 seconds if if you don't want to be spoiled by the end there. But you do play a different character at the end of that game. You play Chris. And they hid that from the game. But he was on the box, the box art the whole time. But he was kind of shown in trailers and in the beginning of the game to be more like a villain. He's not. He's Chris. And so I wonder if it'll be similar. I kind of hope it's not, because Chris only got like 30 minutes. I would hope I'm playing at least like 40% of the game as Leon, if they're going the dual protagonist. But we'll see. I'm still hyped as hell for this game, even if Leon's not in it, just because I love Resident Evil. But a little disappointed by like some of the interview comments, just because as a fan of these legendary characters like Jill, Chris, and Leon and Claire, it's just depressing to hear the developers say they don't want to continue with those characters. I don't know why they would say that when they're so iconic. Leon is literally the second most popular character in all of Capcom, second only to Dante. And I'm like, why are you? I don't know. It's just weird that they don't like him that much compared to the fans. So never understood that. when like creators don't love their creations as much.
Yeah, I guess they maybe don't want to be shoehorned into like one type of story or one type of character. They want to keep trying new things.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm just like curious, why not just continue to do the side games like you always do? That's when I play like Moira and Revelations and all the other games that have like side characters. So I just think it's weird to like be like, yeah, main lines, we want to get away from the main characters. I'm like, isn't that the point? So yeah, but moving on to the final game of the showcase.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Wilds. They gave this one a lot of time.
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah, because they went over the title update 2, which I got really excited by. So to kind of give you an overview of what was announced in title update 2, it was two brand new monsters, a new arc-tempered monster, layered weapons, new DLC, like cosmetic DLC, collaboration with Fender, and a new festival, a summer festival. So with those 7 things, first off, they showed the 2 new monsters. We're getting Lagiacrus, or Lagiacrus, if you want to go by the British announcer, and Seregios, or Steve, as he's commonly known on the internet.
And we get those 2 when
it launches on Monday. When you'll be listening to this episode, you'll be able to play them.
Yes, because it's a staggered release, correct?
Not for the monsters.
No, not for the monsters, for the content, right?
Yes.
Because we get Lagiacrus and Seregios immediately. And then down the road we get, I think Uthduna is at the very end, right?
Arc-tempered Uthduna will be August 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'll be near the end. That's when the festival is going to happen too.
Okay.
No, wait. I think the festival actually happens in late July.
Okay.
July 20th. And then like when it ends, Arc-tempered Uthduna will be there. I'm actually really excited for all 3 of these monsters, if I'm being perfectly honest. Lagiacrus looks amazing.
Very cool.
He already looked cool. I knew he was a fan favorite, so I was looking forward to just fighting him. But then they showed the underwater combat. And I say combat loosely. You're not swinging your sword in here. And I'm going to be real. Thank God.
Yeah, it's more of like an underwater activity.
Yeah, which I think is cool because it showed that like you have free movement because you're going to be dodging his lightning bolts that he shoots at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just seems so cool. And it seems like the clutch claw's back.
Yeah.
When you're underwater and you just hop on him and like smack his ass or something. It seems cool as hell. But yeah, and then they also showed that they're going to bring back the armor, obviously. But I did think it was a cool announcement that Lagiacrus has never had like insect glaive or certain weapons because of when he was released. So they said that because he hasn't ever had all weapons, Wilds he'll have a weapon in every weapon tree.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because not everybody gets that. Like, as a greatsword user, I'm always really sad that Ray Dow does not have a greatsword.
Yeah. Well, you'll get a Lagiacrus one.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I was like,
and Seregios.
Yeah, and Seregios. Oh man, I loved fighting this guy in Rise.
I'm actually really excited for him. He always has my favorite bow. Whenever I want to do a non-elemental bow, I always go for the Seregios bow.
It's hilarious you say that because when I was in the comments section of it, there's at least 3 to 7 people that were saying the exact same thing. They're like, I can't wait for this Seregios bow.
It's strong and it has a high affinity. It's a great raw bow. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I saw someone saying that like it also increases its infinity if you dodge, and so it has some weird like cool.
It's a really sick weapon.
Cool passive. So I'm like, that is sick. So that was really cool. I'm really happy that they're both dropping though. A lot of people thought it was going to be staggered, and I didn't because they didn't do that for the first title update. I don't think when they add a new monster that they're doing that. They always wait for the arc-tempered ones to do that, but that's because they're always relegated to event quests, so it makes sense why they're not there at launch.
Did they also give us the date on when we get layered weapons?
Yeah, comes with it.
Oh gosh, yeah. Now it's gonna be grinding all over again because you need to build the full tree of the weapon to unlock it as a layered weapon. So it's gonna be perfect to go through, or perfect reason to go through and kill everything again.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the layered weapons is so nice because I didn't like modding it. Half the time it didn't work or caused issues.
So we just wouldn't mod. We just never mod the game.
We just never modded.
We never mod the
game. Never. And so I think it's cool that they're adding those things. They also said down the line that they're going to add the ability to turn off the glowing effects, which is another very popular mod because people are just like, dude, I hate looking like a Christmas tree in the gathering hub. Like, and so I thought that was really cool. And another weird quality of life thing, they added the ability to switch handlers.
Yeah.
And now you can have Eric, if you don't like Alma, which is weird, she's cool. But, if you want the more nerdy dude, go for Eric.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think, to be honest, they should add a bunch of people as handlers.
So with them doing this, I'm fully convinced we will have a new handler that gets part of the story during the Master Rank expansion.
Yes.
And it will probably be able to swap through the 3.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, I don't have a problem with it. It was so random. Because I was like, the handler is always like your handler, and Eric is Olivia's handler. So it's weird that they can swap. But I'm like, well, okay.
We get to borrow Eric.
Yeah. I was like, new dialogue, if you're bored of like hearing Alma talk all the time. Or saying, what's that line she says? It's so annoying. Oh, man, I forgot. It's been a while. But, so with those 2 monsters, and then the Arc-Tempered Uthduna. Did you fight Arc-Tempered Raidou?
Yeah, I definitely fought Arc-Tempered Raidou. It wasn't too difficult, but it was fun. I like that. So with Arc-Tempered Raidou, they gave them new explosive.
And 2 new moves.
What were the 2 new moves?
He had a flying dive.
Okay.
Stake dive, and then... I fought him like 12 times. I should know this. But there was 2.
Okay.
But that one was the one that stuck out the most to me. He would jump up in the same place and then do like a lightning stake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see too many of his new moves, but I did notice that there were follow-up explosions on a lot of moves, so it changed how you reacted to them. He was also more aggressive with certain attacks. But overall, it was good. It was a good challenge, just not too difficult.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I played it, and we beat it first try without dying, right?
Yeah, and then when I did the challenge quest, I got the A rank on my first try, and I was just like, well, I don't even have to grind this.
Yep. Not too hard.
Yeah, I will say, though, it was worth it for the A rank. The pendant that I got for that is sick as hell. Yeah. It's an electric orb that hangs from my weapons. It looks cool. So I'm excited to see what Uthduna is going to give us. Yeah. And I'm also really excited for the Arc-Tempered Uthduna because I think Uthduna is a really good monster that is just kind of a little underwhelming compared to the other Apexes currently in the game. I think he needs a little more juice. Yeah. Because currently he just flips a lot. And I'm like, I want him to do more.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
So looking forward to that. But we already talked about layered weapons, Eric, the changing of the handler. But we are also getting Cosmetic Pack 2 for the DLC. So anyone who bought the Deluxe Edition, or I think it's the Premium Edition, not the Deluxe, you got a lot of like items for like gestures, pendants, and like the stickers. Stickers. And so they showed a bunch of new ones that you're going to get with this one. And they look cool, as always. They also do have a lot of free dances. Yes. Yeah, I was shocked. A
ton of free dances.
I thought they were going to be part of the DLC, but they were like, these ones will be free. And I was like, okay.
I think it was like Cool Dance 1 and 2, a few different other ones.
Yeah, it seems like they're all classic ones that people love. Yep. So I think that's really cool of them. I was very, very happy to see that the Fender collaboration will not be paid. I'm a Fender fan, so I love the idea that they mocapped the playing of the guitar. So it's going to be cool to see that. I'm going to try and see if maybe I can learn how to play it by looking at it. Yeah, that would be sick. Because I do play guitar, but not that well. But I would like to see if I can see where he's playing on the fretboard. I'm like, I could probably learn how to tab it out or something. So thought that was really cool, and I really enjoyed the behind the scenes where they showed it. They showed him playing. Yep. So very, very cool. What else was there? I mean, they also did update the roadmap for the game. We're going to get title update 3 at the end of September. which is a little bit longer of a wait than we did for this title update from 1 to 2, but not too much. If I'm being honest, it's almost like 2.5 months.
Yeah, it could be a lot longer.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And they also released a director's letter after this showcase stating that they're going to be doing some big overhauls to like with talismans and with new difficulty.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of overhauls, don't forget the hammer got changed.
Dude, I actually made an RTN hammer this morning. That's why I was playing it.
Yeah.
Because my second character, my girl Hunter, I'm having her do dual blades and hammer.
Yeah.
And the hammer, the new offset attack looks so sick, so dude. Sick. It's also cool. A lot of weapons are getting buffed, actually. That's the other thing with the director's letter. They talked about they are going to buff the bow guns, both of them, light and heavy. They're going to buff the lance, the hunting horn. And then I think those are the only ones I know of off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look at the letter. But they're all trying to buff them upwards. They're not trying to nerf too many things. Because they did nerf some things. They nerfed the sword and shield in this update. Well, I guess we'll find out how badly it's nerfed on Monday. But when I read it, I was like, no, that makes sense. Sword and shield is busted right now. So, it does need a little bit of tuning. But you'll love this because you're a charge blade user. They added perfect guard. It wasn't in there before. You just had guard. So now you can do the super axe move from a perfect guard only. So when you perfect guard with charge blade.
Yeah.
And normally you'll go right into like spinny mode.
Yeah.
Well, now you can do like the ultimate move if you perfect guard, if you do it at the perfect moment. They added a detection to make a difference between guarding and perfect guarding.
So I can perfect guard into SAED, like super amped elemental discharge?
From what I understand, yeah.
Word?
Yeah. It's going to actually change how the weapon plays with that update.
So. That would be insane to go. Yeah, that would be insane. Like you have to do a lot to build up a super amped elemental discharge on the charge blade. So to be able to go perfect guard directly into that would be wild.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool. Can't wait to see it in execution. But yeah, it seems like they're just always trying to make everything better. And so with all of that shown, it's one of the reasons. So the title of this episode is this enough to save Monster Hunter Wilds? Because as we talked earlier in the news, it's plummeting every single day, lower and lower. Do you think that all this content will be enough to at least get some people to stop bombing the game? Or do you think it's kind of too late or too little too late?
I don't know if it's, it depends on the difficulty of Lagiacrus and Seregios. I'm afraid that people are going to eat them up in like 10, 15 minutes and be done with them. They're going to get everything that they need from them in a couple of fights, and then they'll just fall into the group of monsters that were really easy to kill and get all my materials from very easily. So I don't really need to grind them. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. In addition, if they don't change anything on how the game runs, most people are still going to complain about that.
Yeah, they did have a portion of performance in the director's letter.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same stuff where they're talking about the VRAM usage has been, adjusted and all this. And I'm like, I don't know how much that'll actually help because if I'm being real honest, I feel like the game has been running worse lately.
Damn.
But it's weird with Capcom because like they do this with all their games. Like World, I always find it funny how rose-tinted glasses the PC World players are when that game got review bombed to hell because of how bad its tech issues were at launch. It had terrible optimization. Rise didn't have that problem, but that's because it was a Switch game. So I just find it weird that it's like World runs really well now, so I have faith that Capcom will eventually get Wilds running very good. But yeah, it seems like every time they make a new game, because the same thing happened with Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
Ran like ass. 8 months later, it finally got fixed. And it's just like, do we have to wait 8 months for Wilds?
Yeah,
Which will be around October, so I'll check back. I'll report back on that one.
Yeah, if it runs like a dream in October, then we're going to notice a trend.
Yeah.
And that'll just be what it is.
One thing I did want to comment in that I remembered as well from the director's letter on difficulty, since you brought that up. Lagiacrus and Seregios will both be 8-star tempered monsters.
Okay.
And they're adding the ability for tempered monsters to go in packs now.
Oh.
So, yeah. And so the reason why the 8-star version is important, this last update, every 8-star monster got a significant difference in how they play versus the 7 stars and below, even for tempered monsters. And that's their wounds don't happen that often. And also, Lagiacrus got specifically pointed out that his drop rate for his needed materials is lower than all other monsters. You will have to grind him more than the others.
Okay.
So I wonder how that will be received. But if he's a fan favorite and you don't get it in 3 hunts, I think people will be probably happy.
Yeah.
Because they like grinding. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I want more reasons to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, sorry, long-winded. That was the Capcom showcase.
Hey, don't worry. The Arxis showcase is going to be way smaller because there's not a lot to talk about or stuff that we really want to talk about. So I showed up to the showcase about, I want to say, a couple minutes late. I had some things that I was doing, and I jumped in when they were doing Double Dragon, but I missed out on seeing Dear Me, I Was, which seems like a rotoscope game. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. It's like a visual novel for Switch 2.
Yeah.
That is all 2D hand animated, but it's animated based off rotoscoping. So what they did is they hand drew over every picture, but they essentially just like took real life actors and just drew over them in motion.
Yeah, such a very interesting choice. I mean, it looks cool. I just doesn't seem like anything I'd be playing.
Yeah, no. Not for me.
Dear
me, I was just walking by and not paying attention to this.
Damn.
So.
However, we move on to the next game that was announced. Well, not announced, but we got some insight on Double Dragon Revive, which is something that I used to play a lot of Double Dragon. So this is really cool in the sense that you're going to have a lot of finishing moves. They're going to be approaching different, I wouldn't say aspects, but you'll be able to slam enemies up against the wall and up against environments and do different types of finishers. But overall, while the game itself doesn't visually look up to current standards, the gameplay all looks extremely fun. So have you played a lot of Double Dragon?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever played Double Dragon, to be honest.
I mean, it's just like River City Girls, your typical co-op beat 'em up. But yeah, it's really fun.
It looked really fun from the gameplay.
Yeah, so we're getting a small taste of it in River City Girls playing as the Double Dragon characters. You'll probably see some of their iconic moves in here. Both of them have like Double Dragon, like Shoryukens and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, because I've been playing past what we played. I've been just grinding my Billy brother. Yeah, he's cool as hell. In River City.
they're very sick. I'm gonna have to start grinding and catch up. What level is yours now?
15.
Okay, all right. Well, once I catch up, we'll play again. Then we got to see Demon's Night Fever. It's like a game where you want to be bad, essentially. So
I was gonna say I don't think I saw too much on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. It's a game where you play as a character who is trying to become a villain, and the whole point is to do bad things. I believe it's a like an RPG. Not once again, not a game I'm really gonna play. But if you want to go out there and be a bad boy, Demon's Night Fever might be the one for you.
I'm feeling a little bad.
I'm feeling dangerous. Then we got what was it? We got a new BB, Blaze Blue, or a Bubble Bobble Sugar Dungeon.
You're trolling the Blaze Blue fan?
Yeah. Dude, I'm trolling myself. I'm trolling myself. Yeah, so we got a Bubble Bobble Sugar Dungeon, which first thing I showed a friend, and I'm sorry to shit on the showcase, but it's like, it was hilarious. I showed my friend, I was like, hey, check it out. We got a new BB. Showed him Bubble Bobble, and he's like, is this a phone game? I'm like, no, it's not a phone game. They worked really hard on this. It is your side scroller adventure game. You use bubbles to your power. You put enemies in bubbles or create bubbles. You can jump on those bubbles to, platform or to kill enemies. And it is a journey through a sweet dungeon full of treats like desserts and stuff like that, and bubble dragons. Yeah.
Bubble dragons.
Yeah, Bubble Bobble Sugar Dungeon.
Okay.
Won't be playing it. And then, so my expectations were at a low, right? While watching this showcase. But then we get to the point where Daisuke Ishiwatari himself, the man who has voiced Soul, drawn Soul, created fighting games, is a man who has a vision, as so they say.
He's also the rock artist who did like all the music.
Yeah, Daisuke's vision. Look it up. It's an important thing to think about. So he comes out and he sits in a chair, or he's sitting in a chair, and explains to us that the company would love to approach mid-range games that are less risky. And I'm thinking, I was holding out for him to announce some fighting game, any fighting game. And we get Damon and Baby, where you play as Damon, and there's somewhere there's a baby. I didn't see a baby in the trailer at all.
That trailer was something.
Yeah, it's like an isometric action adventure game. Not to like shit on the developers, because it actually looks like an interesting game, but as a showstopper, it's not really doing much for me or any of the fans. Anybody who's looking for news from ArcSys.
I legitimately felt like I couldn't get a good look at the game.
Yeah, because
from that
too much was happening. It was cutting too much. It's an isometric game with a lot of effects. You play as like a demon-looking guy who you can change his outfit, or not outfit, change his hats. It looks kind of like a twin-stick shooter of sorts, but it may be a really fun Switch game. But I don't think that this was the right one to have Daisuke come out and announce, and also lower our expectations before it, letting us know that they want to focus on mid-range, less risky games.
I feel like that's almost at odds, don't you think? Because like if you're known for doing something so much bigger and grander, don't you feel like your fan base probably won't come back after they get burned by buying a game they think would be higher quality and then not getting that same quality bar that they meet?
Oh,
that's just what I'm.
Yeah,
that's just something I'm thinking. They
got Marvel Tokon coming out, so they can't really do much wrong right now, especially if that game is good. They're kind of taking us into a brand new era of tag fighters, but that not being at their showcase, or it would have been better if Tokon was revealed at their showcase, just kind of made me wonder what was the point of the showcase and what was the point of having Daisuke there.
Yeah, I think they really made a mistake having it, because they announced it with hype.
Yeah,
they were like, Daisuke Ishiwatari's new game.
Yeah,
they did not tell us it will be his new mid-range game. We were learning that at the showcase.
And I don't even know if he's directing the game. Isn't he? Based on what he said, it sounds like he is investing in not investing in outside developers, but pushing for developers within ArcSys to make this game, like giving them a chance to make the game that they envision. So I don't know if this is a game he's making. I'll have to double check.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, the showcase was middling at best. I was speechless,
So was a lot of people.
Yeah.
I remember having to ask the chat after. I was like, was that it?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
Unfortunately. Doesn't mean that ArcSys is worse in any way than they used to be. It just means that the showcase, they need to hit the drawing board.
I was gonna say ArcSys never did a showcase, so there wasn't really anything to like ruin reputation wise. Personally, I will say though, if they ever announce another showcase, I'm not gonna give a flying shit about it.
I'll check it out on Twitter first, and then after that, we'll see how that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I guess I'll never watch it live.
Yeah. I won't say never, but I will wait to be reconvinced that it's worth coming to watch. But with that, we're gonna go into our break. When we come back, we've got Jason's language defining game, a really important last boss topic, and a closing video game vocab that I think everybody should know. See you soon. Okay, welcome back from the break. We are going to go straight into Jason's language defining game for this episode.
Yeah.
Again, just to give you a recap, this doesn't have to be a game that is your favorite game or your worst favorite game. It's just a game that you feel has defined how you appreciate video games today, and stood out to you in your, I guess, years of gaming. Mm-hmm. What game are you bringing to the table today?
Splinter Cell Conviction.
Yes.
On the Xbox 360.
Now, I've played a lot of Splinter Cells, right? Don't remember the titles of any of them. Which one was Conviction?
Conviction was the 5th title.
The fifth title?
Splinter Cell, Pandora's Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, Double Agent, and then Conviction.
Is Conviction the one where you open the game by beating a dude up in the bathroom?
Yep, it's the game that had the interactive interrogations.
Yes.
And it was my favorite one.
So let's diving into, I guess, the story. What were some of the things that stood out to you about the story of the game and the adventure that Sam Fisher went on for Convention?
I loved the story. The story was, so before, the government had tricked Sam into believing that he had nothing left to live for because they had faked his daughter's death. He didn't know that. Conviction is finding out that she's still out there, and it's about taking out and interrogating and beating the shit out of everybody to get your girl back, your baby girl back. And I love that kind of story. I'm always about family. So like anytime that there's like going to save your brother or sister, saving your daughter or son, or your parents, like that stuff always just resonates with me. And so I really liked that about this one. I felt personal. It also made sense why Sam didn't listen at all to like headquarters. He was just like, fuck you. Yeah. He's like, you're telling me not to do this? I'll just put this guy's face in a fucking stove iron.
Yeah, I remember that game being extremely brutal. I think I put somebody's face through a urinal or something in the beginning. I was like, damn, this is not the Sam Fisher I remember.
Oh yeah, no. You didn't just put it into a urinal. You punched him until the urinal broke with his face. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I guess spoilers, do you get your daughter back or?
Yeah. That's what's so cool is that you go and like break down the entire headquarters of your old job, like the old CIA stuff. Yeah. You like do a power outage with like one of your old like handlers that's, going rogue with you to help you out. And yeah, because they need you to help take down a terrorist organization thing as per usual. It's not all about saving your daughter. Yeah. Because when you finally do save your daughter gets on the phone and is like, no, Dad, the world needs you. And then it's about you the last 2 missions being like, well, as long as you're safe.
Do you ever have to fight other agents like Sam Fisher in the game when you're going against the organization?
Ooh. Not like him. That is reserved for the co-op multiplayer. Yeah. Which has its own story, which was also amazing. Me and my brother played it.
Yes, I love the co-op multiplayer in the Splinter Cell games. What was the first one that did it?
It was Chaos Theory.
Yes, I remember me and my brother playing that for the first time. We were like, what? We got 2 dudes with night vision goggles? And that was it. We were done.
Me and my brother only ever got through the first level of Chaos Theory at my aunt's house in Tennessee. And I remember she had it. And I was like, what is this game? Because I sucked at the first Splinter Cell. I bought it for GameCube. And I was like, man, I am cheeks at this game. I never beat it. But Conviction was way different because one, the story instantly hooked me. It was a much better cinematic presentation. Yeah. They had better cutscenes. I felt like they were more like debriefings in the first Splinter Cell I played, instead of like characters actually doing stuff. Plus also like the co-op, you didn't play as Sam Fisher plus Sam Fisher. You played as 2 opposing special ops. One who had green night vision goggles and one who had red because it was Russia and then I think like the UK. I could be wrong about the UK. I don't know if he was actually British. It might have been like it was a European country for sure. I should have refreshed my memory before bringing this because I just love this game. I can still remember a lot of like the levels from co-op and from single player pretty vividly. It's just a little bit of the details of the story I am a little lost on, so I might be wrong on some of it. Yeah, but okay. I do remember getting my daughter back and being like, and then her being like, no, don't worry about me. Go save the world. And it's like, okay. But the co-op one was cool because like you did everything that you did in the single player, but with a buddy. So like when me and Devin would get to like the interrogation parts, we'd have to take turns like choosing what we're going to beat the shit out of these guys with. It was always so fun, man. But then you had the big change, you had to kill each other at the end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, when you finally do the final mission, you're on a big like AC-130 like airship above the clouds, and you're both just like sleeping in the hangar, and you both get calls. Your next target is your pal. You're the person you just did the mission with. And you're both at the opposite end of the plane. So, and you don't talk to each other because it doesn't just say go. The cutscene ends and you're both in control, and it's just like, hey, where you at, buddy? Where you at? Why are you being silent?
Did you have to do this on split screen?
When me and Devin did it, yes. But whenever I played it with any friends online, nah. I would just be all silent, mute, crouch over to them. They're just like, Poe, where are you? Poe.
We're not friends anymore. Okay.
Deleted from friend list.
So with that, I kind of want to go into the visuals. So what was how did the game look? What kind of things stood out to you?
So it looked good for a 360 game.
Yeah.
I don't think the graphics hold up too well today.
Yeah.
Because it was like it's a Ubisoft game. So it kind of looks like the old Assassin's Creeds, like more around the 2 and 3 range though, because this was a later title. But I actually really liked the look of it, especially when I played it. I beat this game double digits. Like I really, it was like my weekend game. Anytime there wasn't like a multiplayer game my friends wanted to play, this was like my single player, just go through levels kind of game. And the reason for that was just like, it's just because visually and gameplay wise, it was just addictive.
Yeah.
Visually, you would interact with the environment. So I really enjoyed. I know I'm a violence guy, and I'm not a bad person in real life. Digitally, it's a different story. Because in Splinter Cell, like one of the things that stuck out to me visually was the fact that like blood stayed, which wasn't a big thing in a lot of games. A lot of times blood effects would happen, but they wouldn't actually like permeate the area. So it was always cool to like take a look at like your work when you were done, because you're a killing machine as Sam in this game.
Yeah.
You even have the mark and execute ability, so you can kill up to 7 people with one press of a button as long as you lined them all up.
Yeah.
But what was crazy is that like where you shot them and from what angle would affect like the blood trails. And so like if you cleared out a room with a bunch of dudes and then you're like, you get out of stealth mode, and you just look around, you're like, okay, yeah, well, oh, that window's really painted, kind of thing. Or like especially when you like interrogated people, it looked like hell afterwards.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was probably all that stood out to me visually, just because it was very it was a brighter game than most Splinter Cells.
It was a brighter game. I remember being out in the open during the day on the first stage, and I was like, this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to nighttime, I'm in a bush, and there's a bunch of dudes patrolling, and I got to go get them.
Yep.
So with your, I guess, interrogation and carnage, what were some of the music that was backtracking you?
Oh, man. I'll be real. I don't even remember much of the music because, it didn't really stick out. It felt more like military films that I had watched growing up, where I just, like, the score was really subtle.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's a positive in the sense that like it never stood out to where I was like, what the hell is playing? Like it never took me out of the game, but it also didn't make me go, like I'm not humming anything from Splinter Cell Conviction. But it was good enough that all it did was immerse me. I never was distracted by it.
That's good. So to go into gameplay, so obviously the game had, the interrogations, and did all of them have the mark and execute, right? Also?
No, Conviction was the first one to do it. That's why it was such a big deal.
Okay, what are some of the other things that kind of stood out in this game versus the other Splinter Cells?
Speed.
Yeah.
So one of the things is that the reason why I brought this game is language defining for me, is that this is what made me start to like stealth games, stealth action. A lot of stealth games are a bit too slow for me.
Yeah.
I really don't like sneaking. Like I like sneaking, but I need to be fast.
Yeah.
Because if I'm just crouching the whole time and hiding in shadows and just waiting for patrols to go, that is incredibly boring to me, and I get tired of it.
Yeah.
In this game, stealth and action work together, because if you don't want to be detected, you need to take these guys out quickly, and in the right spots. So I really liked how this game's mark and execute. I would like sneak up on pipes and do all these things just to tag people, because you had to have a clear shot at them to get the tag. And so finding the puzzle of every area you went into was marking enemies and then finding the most optimal spot to knock them all out in one mark and execute without being detected.
That's cool.
And I loved that. It also was one of the first games I ever played that had the last known position, the LKP, like invisible version of you, where people as your last known position. That was really cool for me as a first time player experiencing that, because it really opened up my options. I would distract people all the time so that would pop up, and then I'd be like, oh, right, I'm going to go hide over there where I know I can get this and you can't see me. And so when you go and be like, he's here, wait, where is he?
Yep, you can get him.
I loved that. So while I loved the interrogations too, I do think that the game's speed and hybrid of stealth and action is what is really why I love this game so much.
Awesome. So I can kind of gather what impact it had on you, but I'd like for you to, let the people know. So what was the impact the game had on like your
game language.
Yeah, your game language.
It made me like that genre.
Yeah.
Stealth is no longer like a no-fly zone for me. I mean, I'm a big Metal Gear fan now, and it's why I also want to play Death Stranding 2. I also played Splinter Cell Blacklist after this, and I loved that game too. And I think that any game that has like good stealth mechanics, I feel like my love for that and my willingness to try them out because my first experience with Splinter Cell, I really didn't like stealth after that.
Yeah.
Conviction had a demo, and that's the only reason I bought it, was because the demo was so good that I was like, this is way better.
Yeah.
Because I just really was turned off by that genre. But this game made me come back to the genre and made me go, when a game says, we have stealth action, I'm like, I'll pay attention. Show me. So,
dude, that's awesome. I think that every now and then you get a game that surprises you on a specific genre that you don't normally gel with. Let's use Rematch, for example. I don't play any soccer games, really. I play FIFA from time to time, but I hate soccer games. But to play Rematch the way that it is, it makes me really excited for future soccer games that might be influenced on this type of take on soccer games. So it's always fun to come across a game that really does open up your eyes to a specific genre that you aren't normally inclined to. So I think Splinter Cell Conviction's a great language defining game. It literally defines your language, and I'm thankful you brought it.
Thanks, brother. I was happy to talk about that one.
Yeah.
But if you hear that terrible boss fight music in the distance, which you can't really hear, but I can, maybe I need to get checked out. It's time for our last boss topic of the show. So this one, passage of time's a terrible thing. It'll make you reflect on a lot of stuff. And so that's kind of what fueled this topic this week. And so the question I have is, as we age, gaming becomes harder due to responsibility. But do you feel there are other factors that lower your fondness for gaming? And do you feel as though wonder and surprise have diminished as you've gotten older? So I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that due to wealth of experience with games, current life responsibilities, and expectations have directly affected my enjoyment for gaming. Right. I don't think that back in the day when I didn't work, I didn't have a family, I had all the time in the world. So it didn't matter what I played as long as I was playing something and having a good time. Now every hour counts, every minute counts. If I'm going to spend 6 hours playing a game, better be a good 6 hours, or else I can't really dedicate that time to it, because I'm running out of time to game. I feel like it has definitely diminished as I've gotten older, and I find myself craving having a child so that I can relive my excitement and enjoyment and that sort of like carefree experience with gaming vicariously through them. Not that I'll just use them for that, but
Yeah, no,
but
I
want to
think you
share.
would, but-
I want to share those moments with them and try to create those moments for them and watch them experience it for the first time, kind of like I used to as a kid. I think gaming is inherently a free-spirited activity, you know, and if you think that you're wasting time, it can directly infect your enjoyment with it and cause you to want to do it a lot less, right?
Yeah.
And so, as I get older, the more and more I get older, the harder it is for me to game and get the enjoyment out of it. I'm hoping that all of that flips on its head the minute I have a kid, and now gaming becomes something that we do together, and then I can have that until they get too old and want to move out and don't want to do it anymore, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I actually, one of the words that you said stuck out the most to me on that is expectations.
Yeah.
I think that has been one of the biggest killers for my fondness on gaming. Obviously, my fondness is very strong. I love video games. We're making a podcast about them. But I do feel like some of that delight has waned from experiencing new video games. I almost feel a little jaded, a little just old and cranky about games. And I think expectations has a lot to do with that, because as a kid, you're right. If I saw a cool box art, I popped that bitch in and I had some type of experience. And I usually, even if it wasn't that good of a game, I still had a good time. Because like now that I know more about like critical reviews and like what to look out for on games, I am much harsher, and it's much harder for me to enjoy a game that is not hitting, you know, the boxes that it needs to. And I think that's it's a sad, disappointing thing. It's for me, because I can't change the way that my mind works. I can't delete my memory. So I can't get rid of like the thoughts that occur there. But I am in charge of my viewpoint on it. And so I do try to do that. It's, but I do have felt that like critically looking at games and always like being part of the hype cycles and listening to what people are telling me I'm going to get from this game versus what I actually get. They're not always equal. In fact, a lot of times they're not. And it just makes me a little like a cranky old man that yells at clouds. One thing I will say too that I found odd, that I thought of, I found that my tolerance for multiplayer games has gone down, and it resonated me when you were talking about when you feel like a game's a waste of time. And that's something that I'm always having to like fight with when I'm playing multiplayer games, because I feel like you don't get anything from them other than the joy of playing them. Yeah. Which, I mean, you can say the same thing about single player. It's like, well, but I got a story. And it's like, fair, but you also, it's like watching a movie. But whereas multiplayer games, I feel I've been trying to like work on that for years. Obviously, you've known about that. I've been trying to change that perspective. But that is something that I wish wasn't in my head when I'm playing something. And not having like the best time is being like, this is a waste of time. And I hate that, but it's something with age. That's something that's only popped up with age, because as a high school student, like playing Halo, Gears of War, all those games, I was nowhere near the best. I wasn't even that good, but I would play over and over and over because I didn't feel like it was a waste of time. I was having fun. Whereas now, even if I'm having fun, I'll still have that viewpoint where I'm like, this doesn't matter. Like, I'm just going to get a rank, and that doesn't mean jack shit. And I hate that.
I know that feeling. I feel that way whenever I play single-player games. I'm like, okay, I'll finish this and maybe get some trophies, but I can't show them to anybody.
Dude, my love for trophies died off a cliff like 7 years ago for some reason, because I was obsessed with that shit. And then, the waste of time like thought got in my head. And I was just like, why the fuck do I care about this?
What am I going to do with a trophy, man? It definitely wouldn't help me get Alex.
No. It's like, I can just sit there and go to the next dance club and just be like, you want to see my gamer score? I doubt that one's going to get me any hits. But any other thoughts on this aging topic of games?
No, I think that just we got to remind ourselves to appreciate what we're doing while we're here, and when we're gaming, to try not to let those types of thoughts seep in. And unless you really think that it's probably a bad hobby for you, because sometimes gaming can be a crutch and be too much of an escapism type of thing, and you're not actually doing what you should be doing in life. But as long as you're content with your life and content with what you're doing when you're gaming, we should just try to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, with that, it's closing time. And we're doing the video game vocab. I got another definition for you guys. This one you'll hear a lot because if you're in the PC space. DLSS. What is that? Well, it's an NVIDIA AI technology, and it stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. And what that is a technology that uses AI to upscale lower resolution images to higher resolutions, enhancing performance and image quality in games. It leverages the power of NVIDIA's tensor cores and neural networks to reconstruct images with greater detail than traditional methods, often allowing for higher frame rates without sacrificing visual fidelity. Yeah, and as someone who uses DLSS, you're getting like 30 frames based on each like one you go down. So, great technology, but now you know what it stands for.
Yep. And with that, we're going to get into the final credits. It's time for the final credits. It's the last part of the show where we give
you
30 seconds
uninterrupted
to say whatever your heart desires.
Be salty,
sweet,
or say nothing at all.
The mic is yours.
Tell us what's on your mind.
And Jason, that's you in 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, I guess I'll use this time to talk to you about my thoughts on Mario Kart World. Yeah, I haven't been too happy with it. I thought I was in the honeymoon phase, but as I've gone race by race and blue shell by blue shell, that game has become cheekier and cheekier to me, to where now it is the crustiest of cheeks. I never thought in all my years that I would like a Mario Kart game less than the previous one than this one. 8's peak. Goodbye.